and welcome to the inaugural edition of Colorado Politicking. I am Pat Poblete, a legislative reporter with Colorado Politics, and joining me today is the Capitol's ever-present chief legislative reporter for Colorado Politics, Marianne Goodland, and senior writer Joey Bunch. Now, ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Oh, glad to be here. You know, you guys are the ones doing the heavy lifting at the Capitol. You tell me.
Well, speaking of the heavy lifting, let's kick it over to Marianne real quick because she has been all over the story of the session, and that is this bill on the Colorado public option. So, Marianne, what's the latest on that?
That's a little bit hard to say. There was a very lengthy, an 8-hour negotiating session that took place last Friday. And what came out of that was a strike below, which basically is a rewrite of the bill early this week that made very substantial changes to House Bill 1232, and this is known as the Colorado Option Health Benefit Plan. But in the last 24 hours or so, we're hearing that the first hearing on this bill is set for this Friday, and we're either going back to the original bill or we're going with a new strike below. We honestly don't know what to expect other than the fact that this hearing in all likelihood will take place tomorrow. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of bill we're looking at. What the public option does is it gives insurance companies and hospitals and doctors 2 years to figure out how to draw down premium rates and in the introduced bill by 20% in a 2-year period. If they fail to succeed at that, the state sets up a insurance plan that would be designed by the state and controlled by the Commissioner of Insurance. That's one of the issues that has really, really irked opponents of the bill in the past week, is how much power this puts into the hands of the Commissioner of Insurance and by extension the governor.
Joey, what are you hearing on this?
Well, you know, I'm hearing a lot of politics. And, you know, Pat, I'm not one of those I told you so people, but I told anybody who would listen that this was going to be a hard bill to pass. I don't think they can pass anything. I think this is going to be a Democrat on Democrat fight. I hear that the governor's office, a tip I passed on to Marianne just a few minutes ago, that the governor's office is telling fellow Democrats that they're risking getting primaried by going against this bill because the Democrats are in a progressive mood, and this is a progressive bill the way it's written. So I won't be surprised if nothing passes, but that's just me.
Well, let's take a look at one other big bill that was up this week, and that is the long bill, the budget bill. And Marianne, you and I spent a little bit of time just yesterday going over the caucuses, as both the Republican and Democratic caucuses in the Senate went over that. Now, the whole chamber deliberated on the bill today. What came out of that?
Well, first of all, yesterday people were pretty good at hiding what they were interested in changing. And they went on a spending spree today. There were 38 amendments introduced, and the bill is still being debated at this hour, but we've got about 15 of those amendments that have passed on everything from increasing provider rates for EMT technicians and money for kids with disabilities and behavioral mental health screenings, all kinds of things. The one area where this really has not been successful, or where the spending hasn't been successful, is on transportation. Republicans had 14 amendments on transportation, everywhere from small dollar amounts, $1 or $2 million for specific projects in certain parts of the state, to one amendment that would have put $176 million into the budget for a long list of projects. Not one of those amendments got the support of enough Democrats to pass.
So, Marianne, and we'll do this real quickly because we're running a little short on time here. What's next for the budget bill? Where are we headed now?
The Senate will vote on it tomorrow, their formal vote, and then it heads to the House.
Thanks, Marianne, for the on-the-ground reporting, and thanks to the insight master himself, Joey Bunch, for delivering a little bit more context into some of these discussions for Colorado politics. We appreciate you taking the time to tune in and look forward to seeing you next week.